Hey guys, so this is my third video that I'm making, kind of talking about transitioning and talking about like my experiences with it, and then kind of I'm gonna later on start talking about different issues in the trans community that a lot of things aren't really talked about. I really want to do my next video with my wife and have her talk about like kind of what it is, what the whole transition is like for her, because I mean you don't really hear a lot of that from spouses. I kind of think that it might be good for other people to know, like if you have someone in your life that's transitioning, like what that's like for other people. So I kind of want to do that next time. But this one, I'm going to talk about my transition so far. I just started, so it's all brand new. I kind of wanted to go over like what that's like for me. Kind of just show you guys like what it looks like, to kind of just take away like the mystery from it, And so I guess I'll just kind of get started with that. My first dose of testosterone was on the 18th of this month, so I just took my second one yesterday. Everybody's regimens are different. There's all different kinds of ways to do it, but the two main ones that we're looking at are injections, so intramuscular injections, and it's a word I have a really hard time saying, but basically sub-Q injections, which is just short needle and an injection into the fatty tissue. Intramuscular injections are that long needle that goes all the way into the muscle tissue. So my doctor recommended sub-Q injections, which are just injections into the fatty tissues once a week. Some people do, if you do intramuscular, usually you take a bigger dose and you only do once every 2 weeks. But like I said, what's best for me might not be best for other people, and what my doctor recommends might not be what other doctors recommend, but his experience was that intramuscular injections have a longer time period where you're not taking injections, which can be nice, because then you don't have to do it every single week. But he said like he's noticed sometimes people kind of have like a coming down sort of thing towards the end of their cycle before their next injection. So I do the sub-Q, like I said, once a week, which is, for me, is easier to remember. I just know every Tuesday is the day I take my testosterone. I have to have somebody help me do it because I can't stick myself, at least not yet. I'm hoping eventually I can get to that point where I'm like, it's not such a big deal, but for right now, the idea of like stabbing myself skeeves me out a little bit. But so I'm just gonna kind of show you guys everything that kind of goes into that, to make this a lot less mysterious, especially for people like that haven't researched it, or you don't know anybody that's on testosterone, or you haven't had the chance to like look into it. So let's just make it real easy for you, kind of take all the mystery away. So I kind of have this backpack that I keep everything in right now. It's not like the best thing, but it works for me until I find something a little more compact that I can keep everything in. It just keeps everything in the same spot, so I know where all my stuff is. Okay, so basically for a sub-Q injection, it's just it's like a little tiny needle, and it's basically like an insulin needle. So it's nothing too crazy. So I have my syringes. That's basically what you use to inject, and they're all sealed. It's just a 1 milliliter syringe. So you can see like the numbers down the side. It's just 1 milliliter, so like 0.2. It's easy labeled for me, and I just get one of those every week. So 0.2 milliliter injection once a week. NBD, the needle, like if you can see inside of there, is super, well, I guess you can't really see it, super tiny. It's literally total about that long, so really short. Also I alcohol prep pads to like clean off my skin to make sure that I'm not getting any bacteria on my skin inside of my body that doesn't belong there. And then I have my testosterone. Each of these is 200 milligrams. And basically it's just this tiny little, this little itty bitty thing. It's literally like tinier than my thumb. It's 1 milliliter, so, you know, 0.2 out of that every week. Let's see, what else? And I got 2, so that's supposed to last me 10 weeks worth. Medi-Cal covers the testosterone. It covers my appointments and everything, which is cool. It's one of the great things about living in California. Like, hey, Medi-Cal is like, cool, we can help you out with that, no problem. The only issue I've ran into with getting my testosterone is you have to have a prior authorization, which is just an extra note from your doctor, which I didn't get, so I have to call them. But I paid out of pocket, but out of pocket, the stuff that I got was only $56 for 2 of them, so that's not a bad deal. $56 every 10 weeks. It's not manageable for some people, but for me it's not. It wouldn't be that big of a deal, but if I can get it covered by my insurance, I would much rather do that. Okay, so then what else? A Sharps container, just to dispose of the needles after I use them. They're good for one use. And then we have this really great thing. I don't know how many people know about it, but the Gender Health Center is in downtown, and they are amazing. Like, I cannot, like, shout them out enough. They've helped me through every single step of this. They helped me do my name change. They helped me, get, my appointments with the doctor. All this stuff that I would be totally lost. Like, I would have no idea what to do. They really, really, really helped me out with that. So I want to shout them out. If you have any questions, or if you're considering transition, or if you just want a place to go and meet people, or if you just want to talk, it's not just for people that are transitioning, it's for everybody. So I just want to really shout them out. They also do like a syringe exchange. So today I went over there because they give out Sharps containers and I didn't have one. So they gave me a Sharps container, and they also hooked me up with all these syringes. I don't even know how many are in there. There's like a ton. They hooked me up with extra needles. They hooked me up with drawing needles. These are the longer ones. These are just the ones that you use to draw the testosterone out of the vial. They're longer and they're quite a bit thicker, and testosterone isn't like, it's not like liquid like water. It's like kind of thick, so the larger needle makes it easier to draw out, and you're not sitting there waiting as long for it to come out. Let's see. They also hooked me up with more of those alcohol wipes that I showed you guys. And let's see. I think that's it. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, that's it. So that's super rad. Syringes are, when I got my prescription, they gave me 8 of them, and that cost me like $3, so they're not that expensive. But to be able to have a place where I can go, where I can get a Sharps container, where I can get a goodie bag full of syringes and extra needles and alcohol wipes, and when I fill the Sharps container, I just take it back to the Gender Health Center, and they empty the container out, and then they give me back the container, and they give me new syringes and new needles, and I don't have to pay for it, and they get credit for it, which is awesome. So it's really cool that they're there to help me out. I also repurposed one of my son's diaper wipe containers, because we have like a million of them, to put in the syringes that I've used. So I just kind of keep this to keep like the non-Sharps trash and like the syringes and everything. You shouldn't use, well, they say you shouldn't reuse a syringe, but if you have to, you can rinse them out. There's a little cleaning thing where I went. My doctor's office gave me instructions. So that's nice, because the first injection I gave when I went to the doctors, they kind of did it for me, and they showed me how to do it, and they were super helpful, answered all my questions. But when after a week goes by and then you start to get nervous about doing it yourself, you kind of forget some of the stuff that they might have taught you. So I have every single thing that they told me right here in this nifty little packet. So there's that. Yeah, so April 18th is my start date, and so in a year I should be noticeably different. They say that effects of testosterone kind of plateau about 5 years, so about 5 years from now I should be where I'm gonna be at for pretty much the rest of my life. But as far as the effects go, kind of the first things that happen around like 1 to 6 months, 1 to 3 months, you're looking at more acne. You're looking at, let's see, more acne, fat redistribution, which is awesome. If you guys don't know, women tend to carry fat like in their buttocks, their hips, their thighs. That's kind of where women carry their fat, and men tend to keep fat around their internal organs. What's up, Antonio? So redistribution of fat will help, like, will be the first like really noticeable thing for me, because it's gonna make it so that I'm not having this like woman figure, which I'm like super excited about. That's probably like one of the main things I'm excited about. So I think it's 1 to 3 months is about when your period will stop too, which is awesome because that's super annoying. Can't wait for that to be done with. And then I'm also going to be really candid here, and I'm going to talk about things that might make some people uncomfortable. So if you're uncomfortable with like vaginas, then probably just don't watch. But yeah. So anyways, and with the increase of testosterone, basically what's going to happen is around, I think it's 3 to 6 months, is vaginal atrophy, which basically just means that the tissues in the vagina thin out, and the lubrication kind of stops or lessens. What happens for some people might not happen to everybody, but and also these time frames are kind of just like general, because like I said, some people get them earlier than others. It's just like basically what would have happened to your body if you were going through puberty as a cis male in your teen years. Then around like 3 to 12 months, it's kind of a big gap. That's when the deepening of the voice happens. That's when facial hair, body hair growth really starts. That's like the second most thing I'm excited about. And then something I don't know if everybody knows about, clitoral enlargement is something that happens. Basically, when everybody is a fetus, when you first start out before your gender is determined by your DNA in the womb, the clitoris and the penis are the exact same thing. It all starts as the same exact thing. So that's actually technically why men have nipples, because everybody starts out the same. So once your gender chromosomes kick in, boom, the clitoris, it either becomes a penis or becomes a clitoris. And then the vagina forms and all that good stuff. So clitoral enlargement is basically what happens. And it just gets larger, not like penis size, but it's gonna get, I think they said like some people max out at like 3 inches, so not a big deal there, but that's why there's bottom surgery, which I'm not really considering. I've looked into it a lot, but I'm not really considering that. I'm kind of just okay, and I want to just see what happens and see how I feel after that. I've heard personal stories from people that testosterone kind of like really like changed the way they think about things. I know personally for me, it's only been 2 doses and it's only been 2 weeks, but I'm like a lot more happy. I'm way happier than I was before. I feel a lot more comfortable. I'm like excited. Like I know these changes are going to start happening in my body, and it's like really awesome. So I'm stoked. Like I just feel like finally like I'm going to be who I was supposed to be. So that's awesome. I've heard other people to just like, man, like stuff I thought I would care about, I don't care about anymore. Like I'm not so crazy emotional, which like is not a shot at women, but like some people get more emotional and some people get less emotional. It's kind of like a give and take. The other thing that happens anytime between 6 and 12 months is male pattern baldness. So if I was going to go bald, that's about when the time that would start happening. A lot of people's hair thins out in certain areas or creates like a more masculine hairline. My hairline is like way in the F back here, so I'm hoping it doesn't go any further back. They say that your hair genetics come from your father on your mother's side, and he's still got all his hair, and looks good, so I'm hoping that I'm gonna get that side. My biological father's side, everybody's going bald, so it could go either way. I'm really hoping I don't go bald, but I guess we'll see. So yeah, that's kind of just in a nutshell everything that goes into it. On my next video, I really want to get my wife involved and have her kind of talk about what this transition thing means for her. Some people have straight partners, some people have lesbian partners, some people have gay partners. It just really depends on the person, and she's a lesbian, and so I think like me transitioning is kind of a big deal, but kind of not a big deal. I don't know. I just think it'd be great for people to hear like what it's like for somebody else, like somebody's partner, you know, what it's like for them to go through this, because it's not just me. I'm married, and so like my body's going through the changes, but everybody around me is going through them as well. But I'm lucky enough to have a supportive family and a supportive wife and like really supportive friends, and I'm super stoked that I get to go through this, and I finally just like get to do this. And yeah, so, and about the way, okay, also one other thing, the way that like top surgery works. Since I'm on Medi-Cal and I don't have the money to pay for my surgery, I have to be on hormones for about a year. So I have to be on hormone therapy and living as my gender, whatever that means, for an entire year before I can be considered for surgery. So a year from now, I will be getting my top surgery done, which is also paid for by my insurance, which is freaking awesome. I love California mostly. For this, in this aspect, yeah, it's great to be living in this state. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's about it. I'm gonna keep doing these. I take a picture once a month to kind of just like document my face and my body changes. And then these videos will basically be a documentation of like the changes in my voice, so that'll be cool. Yeah, and I'm just kind of excited to just kind of share everything with you guys and get talking about some real issues, and hopefully sometime down the road maybe help share other people's experiences, because everybody's different. So yeah, just keep watching and hopefully in about a week or so I'll have another video for you guys. And if you have any questions, drop in your questions and I will try and answer them. I've had a question asked about how the transition is for my wife, and I will hopefully be answering that in the next one. So any other questions that you guys have that I didn't answer, shout them out. I'm like totally fine with sharing. Some people aren't. I'm totally cool with it. If you know me and you've asked me questions before, you know like I'm not shy. I'll pretty much talk about anything that's going on. I just figure if I can share it and if I can make it less of a stigma, less of something that people just don't know anything about, just normalize it, then yes, let's do that. I am going to normalize my transition for you guys. No big deal. But yeah, so I'm doing great, feeling happy, and I will see you guys in about a week or so.